had to crown a property market across India in terms of returns and price appreciation, the National Capital Region or NCR would win hands down. While the core of Delhi remains expensive and quite sought after, the Millennium City Gurgaon tops the charts in heady real estate returns. And what's not so surprising is that the other more reasonably priced markets like Noida, Noida Expressway, Greater Faridabad are all playing catch up to Gurgaon on the price charts. The robustness of the NCR market comes from an insatiable appetite for real estate from investors in varying shapes and forms. From the hard-nosed brokers who underwrite large projects to the smart, savvy real estate players who dabble brazenly in the pre-launch game. And of course, let's not forget the high net worth double income MNC employees who simply don't know what to do with all the money they earn, and so leverage comfortably and end up owning at least 3 properties. The big question I'll pose to my panel today: does NCR stand a better chance of withholding or withstanding the current meltdown in real estate, or does its very nature make this animal fraught with higher risks? I've got with me Prashant Solomon, Managing Director, Chintals India and Member Governing Council, CREDAI NCR. David E.J. Walker, Executive Director, SARE Homes Project Services. Also joined by Arjun Puri, MD Puri Constructions, for the first time on the property show. Arjun, welcome. Amit Oberoi, National Director, Valuation and Advisory Services and Research, Colliers International. Sameer D'Souza, armed with a lot of data, founder and CEO of Prop Equity. And later in the show, for the Noida market, we'll be also joined by Mohit Arora, Director, Super Tech. All right, I'm going to start with the first question, and I'll hope for a very, very honest answer here. David, let's begin with you. Has the market stalled in terms of transactions going down, softened in terms of prices correcting, or neither?
I think the market has slowed down this year. The first half, is certainly in the fiscal year, has been slower than last, and I think there has been some softening of prices. I think the areas, the more expensive properties, the luxury properties, are more susceptible to changes in supply and demand, and I think there's probably been some weakening of prices along those lines. I think in the more mid-range market, and certainly that's where we're positioned, there is a robust underlying need for housing and improved housing.
But have sales slowed down? The velocity of sales slowed down?
Velocity of sales have slowed down, yes, I think across all projects, and I think that's a typical situation really. But I think the pricing at the top end tends to come down a bit, but I think at the middle segment, it certainly seems to be more robust, so it tends to be a little bit of a volume slowdown rather than pricing. Yeah.
All right, Arjun, what's your opinion? What's going on in the NCR market right now? Just look at prices first.
See, as far as sales velocity is concerned, certainly there has been a slowdown. But you know, prices, to say that there's been a softening of prices, you know, I don't agree with that at all. Because I think prices are something which every developer has his own requirement of liquidity. And if as a developer you've been prudent with, you know, the kind of, the way your growth strategy is, and if you're not, you know, stretched too thin, and you don't require the liquidity, then there's no reason why, you know, a 2 or 3 month blip of slow sales should cause you to, you know, reduce your prices. There are a lot of developers I know personally who are willing to wait it out. I mean, they're saying we've had these cycles several times in NCR and in Gurgaon. And every time, you know, the prices have come back a lot stronger than they were before the recession started. So I see no reason why, you know, there should be a softening of prices across the board. There may be selective developers who are short on liquidity who want to sell, but I don't think it's going to be an across the board softening of prices at all.
All right. So, Sameer, before I go on to Prashant, what is data telling you? I mean, we've discussed this on the show that resale prices, suddenly investors seem to be in a hurry to offload. They're getting a bit nervous, and resale prices the gap between resale and developer prices is becoming larger.
Absolutely correct. I think the prices with respect to softening that we've been talking about, we can divide this into two parts. One is the primary prices being offered by the developer, and Arjun may be right on that part, that the primary prices by most of the developers are being held at this stage, although sales have slowed down. But if you were to look at the resale prices, there's a bloodbath happening over there. And the answer is very simple, that the NCR market is 50% or more investor driven in the under construction section, and in that case, when the investor and the financier sees gloom and doom and sees the economy slow down, and when he goes out there to sell his project because he needs some liquidity and he doesn't find a single buyer because everybody is waiting on the fence, although they have the cash, although they want to make the investment, they want to hold on right now to see if the markets will dip further. And they are rightfully thinking so, most importantly because nobody across the board can deny that South Delhi and Delhi is down between 25% to 40%.
And this is the beginning? You think it could travel to Gurgaon?
That's what everybody is imagining, that if Delhi can come down where there is very limited supply, why not Gurgaon, and why not
Gurgaon? Prashant, why not Gurgaon?
Okay. Well, coming to the point,
especially when the gap between resale and developer prices has increased.
Yeah. Well, first of all, see, anything is possible, but I would tend to agree with Arjun on this, that the actual there may have been a slowdown, but I think that's more of a reaction towards the overall panic that has taken place because of the dollar rupee and so many different economic slowdown is going on. So I think that's more of a panic reaction. I think markets, whether it's the stock market or it's the real estate market, they're all cyclical. I think the basic fundamentals have not changed. If you look at basic fundamentals like supply and demand, people are still moving into Delhi from all over the country. When I say Delhi, I mean NCR. And there is absolutely no shortage of people that are looking for housing. I think it's more of a slowdown because people are maybe a little more cautious, as what you're saying, in terms of maybe wanting to get out.
Okay.
But in the long term, now coming to your thing about Delhi and Gurgaon, first of all, why has what you're saying is that Delhi the prices have dropped by around 20 to 30, maybe 40%. First of all, because there is a lot more availability, a lot more options today. A place like, say, Dwarka Expressway, where we are doing projects and other people are doing projects, in name it is Gurgaon, but it is actually basically an extension of Delhi. The kind of projects that are coming up, there are all kinds of new villa developments and ultra high-end luxury projects that are coming up. I think people are now seeing that there is a greater option available than just South Delhi, which has problems in terms of traffic, in terms of parking and
okay,
all
we'll
kinds
come
of
to
things.
that micro market a little bit
Sure.
later, Prashant, but I get your point that people would rather move out in the peripheries than stick with Delhi, and Delhi would. I'm not so sure though, Amit, would you agree with that you won't see a price drop in Gurgaon at all? And we will take some data for Gurgaon after this.
Manisha, as I see it at this point of time, primary sales have not come down at all. Ready properties in Gurgaon haven't come down.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying if you can see a built up flat, then
pressure. And
so where is the pressure?
so the pressure is happening on the resale side. So there aren't any resales that are happening in the market. Resales are really low. There have been cases where people are willing to sell at the allotment price that they got the flat at. So that's where the pressure is coming on the Gurgaon markets. And if there is a good, if one's patient and looks at the market, then you may get a good price. But I agree, developer primary sale prices have been extremely stagnant. I don't see that coming down. Also, if you look at from the supply side, the number of new inventories that have come to the market have been extremely limited as if you compare it to the other years, the previous years. Therefore, it will sort of balance itself out in the short term, short to medium term. So yes, there is pressure in the short term, but going forward, the number of apartments that have been launched this year have been extremely limited, and therefore, it should balance out next year and prices again will stabilize.
Okay, so let's look at some data. Gurgaon, and we'll talk about data from Prop Equity, Golf Course Extension Road, Dwarka Expressway, New Gurgaon sectors. Of course, we'll go on to some other markets, but just keeping to these markets, what is the data showing? Well, first of all, look at the new launches in the Gurgaon market. They have dipped, as Amit said, and corroborated by Prop Equity data, 35%. And so has the total absorption. So the rate at which these flats are getting sold has also recorded a fall of 26% in the first half of 2013 over the same period in 2012. Prop Equity data also reports that prices have, despite all of that, jumped up by a decent 17% in the last 1.5 years. And it is this consistency in price appreciation that has made Gurgaon an investor's paradise. That's the exact statement which came in from your research team, Sameer. Investor's paradise, but the investors are panicking. Today, I got this unusual mail saying, a villa, I don't want to name the developer because it has nothing to do with the developer. The owner is willing to offload it at 25% discount to the market price. And to take David's point, it is in the luxury segment, but distressed sales are out there.
100% distress sales are out there. Also, one more thing has to be kept in mind, that the infrastructure development that had to be done, say in a Dwarka Expressway or in the new Gurgaon sectors where livability was to happen, because projects got launched over there way back, and now you have apartments ready but you can't live there. That is also causing a lot of panic in the market. That's adding on to the panic in the market. When we talk about Noida as an example, there are 100,000 apartments out there that are getting construction at the same time. Nobody has faith that they will get delivered because there's a huge cash crunch in the market. Developers are...
Okay, Noida we'll come to later. Let's just stick to Gurgaon.
Okay, so if you want to stick to Gurgaon, I think infrastructure being an issue, financiers and investors owning 50% of the inventory,
that's
now
the biggest
looking
issue.
at an exit and not getting a buyer, because the buyer today is just wanting to wait and watch is the basic problem of the market. But having said that, I would also say that according to me, this could probably be one of the best times to buy in the next 6 months to 1 year.
All right, so in the prevailing issues, and we're going to look at Dwarka Expressway. If I have the price chart in front of me, Golf Course Extension has gone up by 28%. This is 1.5 years. Dwarka Expressway 31.4%. New Gurgaon sectors by 28.9%. So there, my goodness, if I look at these mouth-watering returns, I'm like, you know, this seems to be a party which will never get over. Arjun, there is no expressway to talk about in Dwarka, and there are apartments ready and nobody willing to live in them. What will you do?
First of all, you know, there's something that you and Sameer have repeatedly been saying on this show, you know, ever since this show started. Real estate is not a 3-month or a 6-month or a 1 year even time horizon investment. Real estate is meant to be a long-term investment. Now, what are we talking about here? Up till 3 months ago or 4 months ago, you know, I had a project launch in the month of April or May this year. It did extremely well. And now suddenly in the last 3 months, you know, sentiments have turned and markets have become slow. And we're talking about, you know, the short-term investor panicking. But we're not supposed to be talking to the short-term investor anyway. We have never encouraged short-term investors to come and invest into real estate. This is supposed to be an investment which we are making for a period of 3 to 4 years. We are hoping that if, for example, we are investing in an apartment on Dwarka Expressway, then that value is going to double over the next 4 or 5 years. Once the, you know, the expressway is completed, once social infrastructure comes into place, etc. If you're trying to make a fast buck on real estate in 3 months, double your money, then you need to be looking at other avenues of investment. You should not be in the real estate game in the first place.
I agree with you, Arjun, but it's just that all developers, maybe not Puri, but many developers have spoiled the investors, and investors have got into that game. The underwriting game is very huge in NCR. Prashant, what's your view? I mean, I totally agree with Arjun. Real estate is about 3 to 5 years. But when I talk about stress points and I say that resale market is seeing a lot of stress, do we then view it as a great opportunity for real investors, long-term investors to come in? Should they wait a little bit or should they buy now?
Well, I would say that, as Sameer was saying earlier, I think that this is a good time to buy, because if
now or 6 months later, how bad could things get?
Well, That's a very subjective thing. It depends on what is your goal. Like for example, as Arjun was saying, if you're in it for the long term, then whether you buy it today or you buy 6 months later, I really don't really see much of a
Prashant, it
difference.
hurts a lot. You buy today at 8,000 and the prices come down to 7,200. Believe me, it will hurt.
But Manisha, the prices are not coming down. See, I mean, in the resale market maybe, but overall, if you look at the prices in places like Dwarka Expressway, for example, the prices have not really come down. I mean, maybe there could have been there is a slowdown in sales, but I don't think that has really affected the
Pricing.
as
No,
such.
it isn't. So my worry is, will it crack? Because resale market is cracking and you can see the stress points. David, because SARE Homes wants to focus on the mid segment, I won't call it the budget segment, but mid to upper mid budget segment, aren't you finding that a lot of Gurgaon and Dwarka Expressway has outpriced itself?
There has been.
I mean, you really have to go far away.
It has been. There has been good appreciation, and Gurgaon has been a fantastic market. Picking up on a couple of points I think that have been made. I think the Delhi market fall is from a much higher base. Prices in Delhi are much higher than Gurgaon. They're much higher than in Noida, and so it fits into the concept of the luxury element that I was thinking about. I think in terms of timing, I think it's an excellent time to buy now. If you've invested in markets, then trying to find the top or trying to find the bottom is not really the game.
It's going to be a tough one.
If you've got a perspective of the 3 to 5 year time frame, and certainly beyond that, you will make great money. I think it is a fantastic time to buy. And if you think about the components, is land going to become cheaper, more available? We've got this new land bill, which what's that going to do? Put prices up or down? If you look at construction costs, is labour going to be cheaper? I don't think so. Steel, cement, I don't think so. So, ultimately, and also with NCR being such a huge economic engine for growth, people and demand must keep coming to the city. It continues to suck in people, and urbanization is a process that's going to carry on. So I think you've got the floor for cost is underwritten, and the demand is there.
Unfortunately, there is no room for prices to come down.
No. Okay. I have a very interesting point to add here. Not in the immediate short term, but we are talking about the government going full steam ahead in making the Delhi master plan a reality. We are going to be adding 700 square kilometers in the NCR region purely in Delhi, and the land prices over there in which acquisitions have been made over there are 1 crore to 3 crores an acre, which is much cheaper than what land has been bought by developers in Noida or Gurgaon for that matter. So you are going to witness, not in the immediate short term, but having said that, the land pooling policy is just going to be getting cleared. You're going to see group housing projects, unbelievable amount of them getting announced in Delhi over the next 2 to 5 years.
Prashant, you did make a point that, Dwarka Expressway, in fact, Arjun also made that point very strongly, that Dwarka Expressway is pretty much an extension of Delhi.
Correct.
What happens when all this supply comes into Delhi?
But can I just add to something he said? That the infrastructure like this, is coming in. I mean, the roads are being built. So when you asked earlier about whether now or 6 months later, 6 months later the infrastructure is going to be better than what it is now. So I would say if you have to invest, this is the right time. Now coming to what
6 months infrastructure turns around so much in this country.
But if you look at the pace at which the sector roads are being built,
roads, yes,
they're coming up very fast.
Yes, they are.
So coming to the point about Delhi, I really don't think, yes, there is going to be a lot of supply in Delhi, but Delhi has a lot of other issues, things like multiplicity of authority, for example. There's still a lot of ambiguity as to, how about the approvals, about, things are still taking their time to get sorted out. So I think, yes, although, there's going to be a lot of supply in Delhi, but I think it's going to take a little longer than what he's projecting.
So you're sticking to your guns, Prashant, and saying prices aren't going to come down, developers don't have room to bring down prices, and you don't see any worries ahead. This is a good time to buy.
Yeah, see, look at it this way. There is still supply. There is supply in Delhi even now. Even if somebody wants to buy a house in Delhi, the availability is there.
Not affordable housing.
Not affordable housing.
I mean, when I'm talking about affordable, I start with a 50 to 60 lakh.
More supply in Delhi than Gurgaon, Noida, Ghaziabad, Greater Noida and Faridabad put together.
Right. But
That's
there
the
again,
kind of
it
land supply
depends.
we're
But
talking about.
there again, it also depends on the kind of product that you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about affordable housing is a different product segment altogether compared
Yes.
to say luxury housing.
Luxury housing.
So people who are looking for affordable housing are not your people who are going to buy your luxury housing anyways.
Sure, but Delhi is going to come out with all types of asset classes
Right.
within residential
Right.
Okay.
because the land prices.
So let's take a very quick break here because this conversation can go on. It's a long, large debate. We will look at other markets, Faridabad and Noida. We can't ignore them. For Dwarka Expressway, Gurgaon, it seems that yes, sales have slowed down, but prices aren't going to come down for specific reasons outlined. Inflation's one, land acquisition bill, which is now soon going to become an act, will make acquiring new land very expensive. Weigh that out with land pooling policy in Delhi, which will probably make huge amount or huge tracts of land available for new housing. We're going to weigh that a little bit more. We'll thank Prashant at this stage for joining in with his views because they've got very interesting projects on Dwarka Expressway. The rest of the panel continues. You keep watching. National Capital Region NCR is in focus and Noida and Faridabad are up next. Welcome back to this extremely interesting debate on the National Capital Region, which, as we said at the start of the program, has been the darling of investors, given phenomenal returns over the last 4 to 5 years. And even though it slowed down a little bit, prices seem to be fairly stringent, not coming down, not cracking, at least from the developers, and resale market is seeing some points of stress. Arjun, I'm going to come to you with that discussion we were having. You know, on one side, Samir contends that you're going to see a lot of new supply of very reasonably priced land through the land pooling policy in Delhi, which could probably exert pressure in areas like Gurgaon and Dwarka Expressway. What do you have to say?
See, I think Delhi is a long way off. It's a lot longer than most people think. I think it's at least 7 to 10 years off. And I say this for two reasons. Number one, have you driven around the areas where this so-called huge amount of land is available in Delhi? It's all in the Najafgarh area, so all the villages of Chawla, etc. is where this huge masses of land is available. Now all these are just farmlands right now, right? And we all know about the new land bill and how difficult it is going to be for any government to acquire land for roads, to acquire land for infrastructure going forward. It's going to be extremely difficult. Now, I don't know when these roads are going to come up, when social infrastructure is going to come up in those areas, number one. Number two, if you see, any of the areas that have appreciated or done well in NCR or anywhere in this country for that matter, it is, residential following commercial. So you always have, a lot of people coming to live wherever jobs are being created. Where are jobs going to be created in areas beyond Najafgarh? I mean, the jobs are all being created here in Gurgaon. I mean, that's where half of corporate India is. I don't see people going 15 kilometers deep into Najafgarh to set up a corporate office and therefore residential coming there.
Fair enough, Arjun. So let's move on then. I get your point. In fact, David and Samir also seem to have a very heated debate in the break where David was saying, what are you talking about? Delhi new supply? But it's great to hear arguments, and then of course you as a viewer have to make up your mind on which way the scales are tilting. But let's take Faridabad. Now, I don't know about the job creation bit, Arjun. You talked about residential following commercial. What happened in Faridabad? Suddenly you saw such a big spurt in that market, greater Faridabad. What tipped the scales?
See, we're doing a lot of projects in Faridabad and we're very firm believers in the future of greater Faridabad. I think what's tipped the scales are, a couple of very important factors. Number one is proximity to both South Delhi and Gurgaon. So with the new, toll road that's come, it's excellent connectivity now to Delhi. You have the metro which is reaching Faridabad within the next, year or so. So Jasola, for example, where office space is available at 20,000 rupees a square foot, is just a 15-minute drive away from, Greater Faridabad. You have a huge number of IT parks and commercial offices coming up on National Highway 2. You have National Highway 2 being broadened. For a lot of people who work in Gurgaon, and Gurgaon is quoting on an average at 8 to 10,000 rupees a square foot. Faridabad makes a lot of sense. It's just half an hour away at 5,000 rupees a square foot. So it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so
Faridabad has a lot going
Yes.
for it, and especially the new areas of Faridabad are being developed, in a very well.
Okay. Okay, Arjun, I got the gist. You're saying that basically infrastructure has tilted the scales in favor of Faridabad or greater Faridabad as we are talking about right now. Amit, would you agree with that? I mean, you do think, yes, there's a lot of office space coming up, but will it get populated just the way you saw Gurgaon? Because, we still don't have corporates moving to Noida Expressway right now with the kind of gusto that we would have wanted to see.
Yeah, Noida Expressway is still a preferred location, and I agree with you. Faridabad is still to catch up, especially on the commercial space. What works for Faridabad is its proximity to both Noida and Gurgaon, and with the new toll coming in, that makes Faridabad to Gurgaon about a half an hour drive, and a pleasant drive at that. And also the fact that it's an affordable area. So if you work in either Noida or you work in Gurgaon, you are in between and you can travel to both locations. And when you have families which have a spouse working in Noida and the other one working in Gurgaon, that's a perfect location. And I know a lot of people who are looking at Faridabad for affordability and for location.
Okay, prop equity numbers, Sameer. Faridabad has seen a considerable rise of 45% in new launches in the first half of this year over the number recorded in the first half of 2012. This is probably the only market in NCR which has seen a big jump in new launches.
If you look at the new launches and look at the base, the base is 3,000 units. Compare it to the other micro markets or other cities like Gurgaon or Greater Noida or Noida for that matter, it starts to touch above 30,000. So because the base is so low,
that's why it's looking like a big jump.
40% jump is a jump from 3,000 units to 4,000 units, which is nothing really.
Nothing. All right. So that corrected. Do you think Faridabad has moved up the maximum, 34.35% appreciation first half to second half, or to 1.5 years? Again,
base
low
has
base.
been so low and it had to catch up. As Arjun pointed out, there are some good infrastructure initiatives that have been planned, like the metro coming in the next 1 year, the roads, the government, the Huda has sanctioned a lot of money and started to build out roads in the new Gurgaon area, and you just don't get property so cheap in Delhi anymore.
Have you considered Faridabad? Taking up greater Faridabad, taking land up there? It seems to fit the kind of budget housing or I won't call it budget, but mid-income housing.
Yeah, I think it's certainly an area that we've looked at and considered. I think a couple of important points really is where the employment is a critical element in terms of where you plan to do your projects, and we generally try to locate our projects within a 30-minute drive to where that major employment hub is. And I think if you're also going against the traffic, that's a great benefit to you. So if you can secure land in relatively affordable prices there, then everybody benefits from the appreciation. We appreciate as a developer, as the price, as the infrastructure comes to that location, there's an increase in value, and the buyers of the properties also significantly benefit, because that as the economy and the growth corridors come, they expand and they see great appreciation on their projects.
All right.
So we've looked, but we haven't quite dipped our toe in the water yet. But
you do like that market. You do think that it's a good market to be in. Do you think that's a stressed out market as of now? Greater Faridabad market?
I think,
before we move on to the big Noida market.
I think I would like to see people starting to live in Greater Faridabad. That is going to start happening from now onwards. I hear a few hundred families have just moved in. Is there enough social infrastructure available for a few thousand families to be supported over there? There is no employment there as such. So everybody is traveling all over to Noida or Gurgaon to seek employment.
Or Delhi.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think at this price point, Faridabad has, I think this price point, from this price point, the prices are not going to go up anymore.
Okay.
Over there.
So
There is
you
enough
think
supply.
it's appreciated very quickly in
It's
the last
appreciated very
1 year
quickly,
especially?
and now the resale market, you don't find buyers. So if the market
buyers.
has really appreciated that much, then there should be enough buyers out there to buy from the resale market if the price is still very low. But that's not happening.
Okay, so that's Faridabad. Again, stuck on the resale market, but just infrastructure makes it still one of the good propositions for buying a budget home. And when we say budget, we're not talking about 30 lakh homes. Budget for our viewers is 50 to 70 lakhs. I think that's a market where you'll still get homes. But another market which is unfolded with fantastic infrastructure, Noida Expressway, and of course Greater Noida. We're now joined by Mohit Arora, Director Supertech. Lots and lots of projects there, Mohit. Welcome to the show and to the discussion and debate now that you're shifting to your side of NCR. What's going on there? Have sales slowed down?
No, I don't see a lot of slowdown sales in the current market. Actually, there is a slowdown above 60-70 lakh, which is out of budget or a premium real estate market. But anything below 60 lakhs, we don't see any slowdown. Because in this region there is actual demand. There is very less amount of investors who are looking at investing small amount and flipping property around. But there are actual buyers or long-term buyers which are there in this market. So there is no slowdown below 50-60 lakhs.
Below 50-60 lakh, no slowdown. So let's look at some data. Noida Expressway 1, Noida Expressway 2, and these are some of the upcoming areas as well. And of course, you've got Yamuna Expressway, Noida Extension, as we also call now Greater Noida West. If you just look at the prop equity data, new launches, if you look at the market as a whole, have fallen by a staggering 56%, along with absorption, which also seems to have taken a backseat, with numbers posting a decrease of 36% in the first half of 2013 when compared to the same period in 2012. Prices in Noida region continue to head north with a stable increase of 15.5%. Again, same period, we're talking about first half to first half of this year, while the stock of unsold inventory in Greater Noida, let's be very clear, it's not Noida, Greater Noida seems to be the highest in NCR. Sum up the data for us. We do talk about the fact that there's a lot of supply also going to come up in the next 2 to 3 years in this market, but Mohit says that's not as heavily investor driven as perhaps Gurgaon.
I would say even if it is investor driven, it's with a view to holding on to that real estate for 5 to 10 years.
How do you differentiate between these kind of investors? I mean, how do you say Noida has investors who will hold on for 5 to 10 years, while Dwarka Expressway in Gurgaon has investors who like to flip fast?
The answer is very simple, that when you have a new launch happening in Gurgaon, it gets sold overnight.
Okay.
That means all the financiers and all the underwriters are sitting out there. But if you go to a Noida or you go to a Greater Noida, there are sales happening over a 1 year period for the project to get sold out. Plus,
is that correct, Mohit?
Yeah, exactly, it is right. And the difference I would make between these two kind of investors is Noida has new investors. People who have just got jobs and they are just being promoted to higher salary package, they are started invested, while at the other end, because we also have projects in Gurgaon, these are professional investors, what you say, they know how to make money fast.
Okay, so there are so you're saying employed people looking at a real estate as an investment vis-a-vis the brokers and the underwriting community, isn't it?
I think the high net worth individual prefers to invest in Gurgaon, and he wants to buy multiple properties, and that's why there are multiple investments happening over there. There's a huge perception issue with Noida and Greater Noida. That's why the price appreciation has also not kept up in pace with respect to Gurgaon. So if you have a luxury market or you have a above mid class market that's purely in Gurgaon, the jobs are mostly in Gurgaon compared to a Noida or a Greater Noida market. But the base being so low in Noida and Greater Noida, and proximity to Delhi metro, infrastructure being fantastic, that's why the prices have gone up and there's been some significant appreciation. But the overall kind of supply that we're looking at in Noida, 1 lakh units on the expressway, will ensure prices don't go up in a hurry at all. And I think the smart investor recognizes that. And he will also not see delivery over the next 5 to 7 years, because with, say for example, one of the largest developers, I won't take his name, but he's doing 25,000 units in Noida. He's 5 years delayed.
5 years delayed. Okay, so that's another point that we're going to look at. Amit, decode the Noida Expressway market for us before we get into the Greater Noida market. That's actually been a market with a huge amount of supply and prices not moving up. Expressway seems to have it all together, and prices have done very well. Going forward, what do you see?
Manisha, the prices in the Noida Expressway have gone up significantly. That is the preferred location. That is where the commercial segment is also coming in, so there will be job creation, although not as much as in Gurgaon. So if you look at the Noida market, and if somebody, company is price conscious, then they go to sector 62. However, if the company is willing to pay and wants to locate in Noida, then the companies go to the expressway. A lot of projects which were launched at say about 3,500 to 5,000 are today trading at about 6 to 7.5. There are even quotes of about 9,000 rupees a square feet in that area. Again, the resale market is pretty slow. And the data that you mentioned right at the beginning of the Noida segment, where you said if you compare Q1 to Q1 over a period of year, the prices have gone up by I think about 25-30%. But if you look at the last 2 quarters, then the prices have been extremely stagnant. They're the same price, absolutely no appreciation. So in the short term, that's the way it will be.
Okay, slowdown in Noida market as well. Mohit, is there room for developers to bring down prices, or only in the resale market will you see prices coming down where investors are trying to offload? Do you think developers will bring down prices?
I do not think developers will bring down the prices, because most of the developers in Noida have sold quite a bit of amount of their project. I mean, most of the developer have sold more than 50-60% of their inventory. So all of them are in comfortable position. So nobody would like to bring their prices down. Okay. So prices might come down in resale market, that too a ticket size where it is above 70 lakhs, 60 lakhs. Because there is real demand below 50 lakh or 60 lakh still there.
Across the country, there's real demand below 50 lakhs, except that it's getting tougher and tougher to find houses under 50 lakh in NCR. But then there are, of course, areas like Noida. So a little bit of slowdown in Noida, Faridabad and Gurgaon, all visible, but none of the developers are willing to accept at this moment that the prices are likely to come down. We're going to come back in a moment and then just take an overview from everybody on how do they hunt out for the best deal, which is a sweet spot that if you are, you have cash and you're sitting on the sidelines, when do you actually jump in, and at what price point, which market do you jump into? You're watching the real estate debate on the National Capital Region, one of the most exciting markets in property across the country. Welcome back to this very interesting discussion and debate on National Capital Region, an investor-driven market, also of course offering you great opportunities across Gurgaon, Dwarka Expressway, Greater Faridabad, Noida, Greater Noida, Yamuna Expressways. It's a huge market with a huge pent-up demand and lots of action. Panel clearly says, look, developers are not going to bring down prices. There are lots of reasons for not doing so. Land is going to get more expensive. You also have escalation in prices of construction or cost of construction. So where is the room? All right. So having said that and establishing the fact that the resale market, you do see some amount of stress points, at least investors who are trying to sell their stock are willing to bring down prices and give you that gap between developer price and the resale price. What do? Which market do you go ahead and buy if you were armed with a good kitty? Arjun, coming to you first. You're allowed to pick one market. I know you're there in 2 markets, but between Dwarka Expressway and Greater Faridabad, where would you put your bets for the next 3 years to 3 to 5? Let's take a long-term horizon.
Well, they're both great markets, but if I had to pick one, and you're forcing me to do that, I'd say Dwarka Expressway. I'll give you a couple of reasons. It's 3 kilometers from the airport. It's being built as the broadest road in the whole of NCR. There's no broader road than this. It's double the width of NH8. It's right next to where some of the largest office complexes in NCR are, so all the jobs are going to be there. It's within a 15-minute drive of Vasant Vihar, where the prices are, 40 to 50,000, even in today's depressed market. And we're talking about an average, weighted price on Dwarka Expressway of about 8 to 10,000 rupees. Even a Dwarka, society cooperative flat is at about 12 to 15,000 rupees a square foot. So the opportunities for upside are enormous on Dwarka Expressway.
Okay, you almost make me believe that those projects that have been priced at 10,000 rupees per square feet, per square foot I should say, are not expensive. Almost convinced, almost, Arjun. All right, let me take the other panelists' views. What do you think, Amit? What would your pick be?
Manisha, if somebody has a good risk appetite, I'd say that one should look at the new Gurgaon sectors just beyond the Manesar toll, because the Manesar toll, I believe, is likely to move further down. So you'd still be on the NH8, and I'm talking about the facility corridor, between the facility corridor and NH8 and towards the left as well. So the 74, 75, 76, 82, 83 and those sectors. And if somebody doesn't have too much of a risk appetite, then look at resale properties available in main Gurgaon areas.
Okay, I think part of what Amit said must be music to your ears, David.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you tell me your
I'm
best
definitely
pick.
going for the new Gurgaon area as being a great way, and I think there, there is an established big corporate, the multinationals, the proximity to the airport. I think the employment there gives you an underlying basis, and I think the sector roads are very important there as well. I'm going to break your rules though and also tell you about our project in Ghaziabad, where I think if you've got a 3 to 5 year horizon, it's a fantastic opportunity because of infrastructure. The NH24 finally being widened, and I think metro connectivity coming there will mean a significant opportunity there.
Though we have Club Ghaziabad in our Tier 2 city discussion next week, but we will of course get your views there. So within the NCR, the cities that we've spoken about, micro markets, your pick would be again the NH8 and beyond the Manesar toll.
Excellent.
And New Gurgaon area. So just before or after? Let's get on with you, Mohit. Lots of markets that you are. Expressway, Yamuna Expressway, Noida Extension. Pick one for me.
We are in more markets, Ghaziabad, Gurgaon, everywhere.
No, that's true, but these are your big areas.
Yeah, I would pick Noida because
Which part of Noida?
Noida Expressway region. Why I would do that? Because everything is in there. It is there in front of your eye. Nothing is planned. Nothing is coming up. Nothing will be. I think nothing will be get developed which will increase the price by many times. Everything is there. Be infrastructure, metro, electricity. Everything is there. So there is no risk at all. First of all.
All right.
Secondly, the quality of life will definitely be gonna be better because of the infrastructure and other facility what we just discussed. Connectivity with Delhi. Southern part of Delhi, central Delhi and eastern Delhi for that matter. Everything is very close by, very approachable. Corporates have started moving in.
Corporates have started
moving in, not at the pace of Gurgaon, but yes, a lot of corporates have set up big offices there.
I think the cost arbitrage with Gurgaon is beginning to now get some of the corporates to be there.
Definitely.
Okay, so Noida Expressway is your pick. Samir, now you've got 3 markets to pick from. Manesar toll in and around, Dwarka Expressway and Noida Expressway.
Well, I'll always back golf course extension.
Really?
Absolutely.
This is like confusing the viewer even more and more. And I was hoping for some clarity on this panel.
Well, my reasons remain the same, that I think the golf course road is going to be the most prime road. It's going to be the Aurangzeb road of Gurgaon. 600 crores is being spent on that road to make it truly international. Golf course extension is right next to it. The top corporates have started to move there. That's the next hub of luxury housing. The gap between golf course extension and golf course road is now almost 50% or 70%. So an under construction project in the resale market, if you get it 7,000 rupees a square feet,
7,000 rupees a square feet. So I forgot on the pricing. I need to ask everybody.
So at 7,000 rupees a square feet, in another 3 to 5 years, you're looking at 12 to 14,000 rupees.
Where is it available at 7,000, Samir?
Some resale distress sales you may get
saying
at
that,
7,
hello,
8,000.
great buy, but don't buy at 9,000, which is a prevailing market rate, but wait for that 7,000.
You have to look for deals.
Fair enough. David, the sectors that you're talking about, New Gurgaon and beyond the Manesar toll, what price? What would become expensive? What would be a fair price to buy out?
It's a very interesting thing because the land price there has appreciated so significantly, and as a developer, you can't give away a land freely, can you?
No, you can't.
So in
There's
many
a
ways,
replacement cost.
Exactly. So in many ways, we're in a situation where we've been actually forced up the price point. We're selling above 1 crore now, up to 1.5 crores on some of our projects. But that literally has been driven because
Gosh, I shouldn't have called your project budget at all.
No, it's moved. Well, we
moved up.
started in the affordable segment, but certainly things have, the growth of Gurgaon has been so dramatic that it's forced us to move our project, and therefore we've had to move our developments upscale as well. So we're developing to a much higher level.
So the price
as well.
point that you're talking about is 5,500 rupees per square
No, it's
foot?
going to go up. It's going to be more. It's going to be, I think if you, 6.5, 7 is a very good deal in that area now.
6.5 to 7 is a very good deal. Mohit, okay, we're hoping you'll give us a better pricing in Noida Expressway, not to take us all the way to 7,000 rupees per square
Definitely,
foot.
the pricing, again, it's another USP of Noida. The pricing is genuine. Right now, the average pricing is somewhere between what I think is somewhere starting from 5,500 going up to 6,500 based on the location, the mid-range project. And I think with a steady growth, it will go up to about 8,000 rupees a square feet in next 1 year, because all projects are nearing.
1 year?
Because all projects are nearing possession, and the projects which are ready on expressway are actually selling at 10,000 rupees a square feet, which are ready to move in. Of course, they are very less in numbers. But yes, but these projects will go up to
So there is an
10,500 or 8,000 rupees a square feet. But now the prices are somewhere between 5,500 to 6,500 for a average project.
Okay, Mohit, you have to come back after a year. We have to see those prices at 8,000 rupees per square foot. Arjun, Dwarka Expressway, what's the right price to buy at, and you know, what would the sweet spot be? Because we've got projects you launched at such a reasonable mouth-watering price, which we slammed and said, oh, that's too expensive. And now we don't think that was expensive at all. Prices have moved up to even 9,000, 10,000 rupees per square foot. So where would a good deal rest?
See, I think if you're getting anything sub 8,000 and it's a good location, if it's on the expressway, then I mean, just close your eyes and buy it, because that's the sweetest deal you're going to get. But I think, you know, like stocks, you can never buy at the lowest possible point. So I think anywhere between 8 and 10,000, that's the range. If you're looking at a long-term horizon, then 8 and 10,000 is the range. That's a fantastic buy.
Okay, you said below 8,000. I'm going to stick to that point. 8 to 10 seems like on the higher side from the developer, yes. And you know, a lot of buyers don't want to buy from the resale market. There's a cash component which we can't deny in the NCR market. They'd rather go to the developer. And we've had those viewers calling in and saying, I don't mind paying that 500, 800 rupee per square foot difference, but I do want to buy directly from the developer. Gentlemen, a very interesting discussion and debate. Mohit, thank you very much for joining in. David, Sameer, Arjun and Amit, pleasure, gentlemen, having you on the NCR discussion. Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed, because even our livelihood depends on real estate doing very well. So we hope it goes through all the ups and downs like every other asset class will. But if you have a 3 to 5 year horizon, the panel seems to be coming or converging to this opinion that if you go and buy in the mid segment, not too expensive, and have a holding period of 3 to 5 years, this and probably the next 6 months could be your best bet in NCR Realty Market. Goodbye from me, and thanks very much for joining in.